Hello there. This is a King. I believe it's a KDS65. It's a KD something, I think 65. It has a 1,000 grit side and a 6,000 grit side. The Waterstone. And this is probably the main stone that I use to sharpen my woodworking tools. I'm going to post this on a couple of different channels. This channel and my woodworking channel. And this is just a Harbor Freight. I believe it's like a 1/2 inch. Yeah, it says right there, 1/2 inch. Chisel. They're not very. It's a junk chisel, okay, but it takes a good edge. It holds it fairly decent, and I built the workbench that I have with a chisel like this, the 1 inch one or the 1.25 inch one, whatnot. And I've already honed, because what I'm doing is I'm going back. If you look, that bevel is really nice and polished, but it's not cutting like it used to. So I want to refresh it and bring it back. And I could go to the 6K and try, but I always just start on this. But I've sharpened or honed 3 others, and this is the last, or next to the last one. And so I thought that I would shoot a video. I wasn't planning on doing it. I just, I thought, yeah, now's a good time. What I want to do, you see that it has a particular bevel. Now, this is hand sharpening and hand honing. And with hand sharpening and hand honing, this bevel will never remain completely flat. Okay, it will have a slight convexity to it, which in my opinion is not an issue. It actually, I think, makes the tool, the edge of the tool, a bit stronger, but your mileage may vary. I know that everybody's obsessed with flat. I know old woodworkers that have stones, that have had stones, or I have known in my lifetime, old woodworkers that have had stones that were dished like a banana, and they just continued to sharpen on it and didn't have any problem with their woodworking. So 6 of one, half dozen the other, whatever you want, but I don't obsess with flatness. So what we're going to do, this is old school technique. We're going to lay this on the stone. You can feel when that bevel is laying flat on the stone. And then what we're going to do, we're not going to move our arms. We're going to lock our arms in this position. We're going to rock our entire body. And we're looking for that burr. This is 1,000 grit side of this stone. And you notice I'm using the whole width of the stone. And you're going to hear my, try not to let that do that. You're going to hear my floor creak because I'm rocking back and forth. And I got a weak spot there. Got to be careful with that. Okay, I have almost a burr. I'm missing from about here over. See my thumbnail? From about there over. So I need to continue until I get that. I'm going to find that angle. speed is not important. Okay, now I have that burr. I'm gonna do that right there with my shirt. If you have a problem with that, don't do it. Use something else. But I'm a country boy. What I'm doing now is I'm laying this flat on that stone. I'm not laying it tilted up, and I'm definitely not lifting to put a micro bevel on the back. I want this completely flat. And what I'm doing is I'm turning that burr and I have a light source above my eye, above my head, and I'm looking along the very apex of this edge here, because this is an edge. You flatten this side and you flatten that as close as possible to get a really sharp edge here, okay? But I am checking to see if I see any little pieces of the burr left on this, and no. And that's already cutting hairs. What we're going to do now is I'm going to rinse this off. And turn the stone over. You're going to see some dirt and stuff on this stone, and some stains here that were there when I got this. This stone was used. But you see the dirt because I have been sharpening other tools. Like I said, same process. And you don't need any kind of pressure with either of these stones. You're just locking your hands and letting your body do the work. And now I'm speeding up because I can. When you are first starting to learn this technique, you want to go fairly slow like what I was just doing, so that you keep that angle. You get used to locking your wrists and allowing your body to sway forward and backward, or side to side is what I'm doing here, so that you get the angle as good as you can get it, as consistent as you can get it. Okay, beautiful. Now if you look, okay, this whole face is polished, but if you catch it, I don't know if I can, you see? Okay, that's because I'm a human being. And so I have a little bit of a camber on that blade. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, because if I have a burr off of this stone, it's a very fine one, and I want to remove it all. So, gorgeous. And that's shaving like a champ. And what I will do this is what I have on hand. I have several strops I've made, but I will strop that. And then keeping it flat. And that's shaving like a skull today. Now, if you have a lot of damage, you can go to, let me set this over here. You can go to like a 300 grit diamond stone or a 400 grit diamond stone. I know a lot of guys, if you watch the woodworkers, they'll have a little wooden block or something, a piece of plywood about that size, and they'll have three or four diamond stones, and they'll go from like 220 to 400 or 600 to 1,000, and then they'll go to like an 8,000 grit water stone. Usually nowadays the Sharpenings are popular and all of that, and they're basically glued to that board, or they've got some way where they're held in, and all of that. I don't find 220 grit diamond stone to be really necessary to move steel on a chisel. Okay, the coarser the scratches you put on that bevel, the more work you're going to have polishing it out. Okay, a 300 grit or 400 grit diamond plate does perfectly fine for these kinds of things, and it's well worth your time to learn this technique. It's not difficult. Anybody can do it. It just takes practice. All right. I'll talk to you later.